All right, so welcome back. We out here with none other than one of Montreal's pioneer. When I say pioneer, I mean pioneer with a capital P. Know what I'm saying? We got MonstaPop. Cheese! Hey, with the new look, looking fresh.
What's up?
Know what I'm saying? Looking like an R&B star.
That's what I am, bro.
Know what I'm saying? You're about to release a project?
I don't know.
What's up?
I don't know, bro.
What's up? You about to release some shit?
I don't know, bro.
Oh, you don't know?
Fitted cap, trench coat with a pair of Jordan Turner boats moving by, glides, keeping them afloat, That plus die cause you're trying to follow. Run love bad, we got no ice to borrow. Light camera action, but movement capture, alter reality, picture frame dissect the higher melanin in that intro chapter. The catamaran captain, the cap locks caption hyphen. Find a pause in this let's-o moment. Let's applaud cause this Wednesday is golden. Who would have thought that day was chosen? Interludes of a life, what's happening? Yeah.
What's up with that? My guy out here with a new look. Yo, I ain't never seen him with his hair that short, bro. Yo.
10 years of locks, man.
Cheese!
10 years of locks.
10 years of wisdom. Cheese. But yo, that new look is fire, bro.
Yeah.
It's fire. But what pushed you to cut your hair, bro?
Well, first off, there's a reason why I grew my hair, and the reason why is because I was going through, like I spoke to you before, I was going through like a very deep depression, questioning my life, my existence, and I was just like not stable at that moment, you know. I think I needed some kind of professional help or whatever, but it was like, you know, it's something that's a bit taboo in
Black community.
In Black communities, talking about mental illness or disorder, whatever. But there's a moment in my life where I was mentally ill. I was not good. And at that moment, for me to kind of like hold on or to feel some kind of like strength or power within myself, I don't know, something came to me. I kind of like the idea of like, locks is wisdom, and then there's powers in locks and spirituality or whatever. So I kind of like put that paradigm or that thought process in my mind. I was like, all right, cool, let me grow those locks. And as it grows, then it makes me stronger kind of thing. Or it kind of like is a witness to like, yo, you're still here and you're surviving this hard moment in your life.
Yeah.
That depression lasted for like 2 years, like that weird mind state that I was in. And then after that, like my hair was like about your length or a bit shorter or something like this. And then from there, I just liked the look and I kept it, you know. Jeez. I felt like it represented me. And then I cut my hair, but also I kind of like, now I made a promise, but kind of had this idea of like, you know, when you go through a depression, when you go through extreme anxiety, when you don't trust this mind of yours, it's like it's worse than like breaking like a part of your body or dislocating something. It's not something that you can see, you know, you just feel a certain way, right? So at that moment when I was in the lowest part of my life, I was like, all right, cool. In 10 years, I was like, in 10 years, like everything's gonna be all right. And in 10 years, look back and you're gonna see that you survived all of this. I mean, I got better 2 years after, but it's like the 10 years hit up. Like this summer was like, oh, this is my 10th year with my locks.
Oh shit!
And I was like, oh, wait a sec, like. And I've been thinking that like I need to get rid of my locks. My locks was breaking a lot. I wasn't taking care of them, and I was like, yo, you know what, like. It's about time. And you remember when you started your locks, that was a thing to keep strength. And also you kind of had that vision of yourself that 10 years from now, you're going to be all right. And 10 years from now, you're going to be like somewhere totally different. You're going to look back and you're going to realize that was just a little moment of your life, that year or that 2 years. Just a phase, you know, a very dangerous phase, a phase that like, I think few step ahead. And then I think I would have, you know, it would have been
cross
like,
that line.
cross that line or be like, I don't know, like be somewhere like stuck in a hospital or something. You know what I mean? Like, and I survived that. And I was like, yo, cool. And I was like, yeah, I got to cut it off. Like, I'm kind of done with this. Jeez. And it kind of like made me do this retrospection of like, oh, snap. That's where you were 10 years. Because you forget, you know. You just live life. You know, you live life. And I'm like, oh, snap, that's where I was. All right, cool. Time to cut it off. When I did that, wrote some intentions.
Jeez.
Wrote what I want for the next 10 years.
Jeez.
Made a prayer. It gave gratitude to God. Folded it. Burned the paper. Then flushed whatever residue that was left. Yeah. And then I did my thing that day and cut off my locks.
Wow, yo.
So again, putting a different intention for my next 10 years.
Sheesh. Bro, yo, that's pretty profound, bro. That's pretty profound. Like, I started growing locks, but I wasn't thinking like that. And I'm saying it was more of a look thing or more of like a boredom as well, where I didn't know what to do with my hair. And it was just growing. I was just like, I ain't going to cut it, but I don't know what to do with them. You know what I'm saying? But to hear you speak about your intentions and all that and the reason why you started growing your hair, I feel like that's, like I just said, that's something pretty profound, you know what I'm saying? And I want you to tell us, like, once you got there to the barber's chair, like, yo, bro, after 10 years of having your locks, like, even Jean, because you had long hair for a moment.
Yeah.
You know, my mentor had long hair for a moment, and then when he had his first child, he went bald, bro. Bald. When I say bald, I mean like you lick your finger, you slide it across his head, and it makes noises like, ding! Bro. He went sweet. Bald, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, bro, like, and I can't imagine myself cutting my hair that short for now. So how was it for you, bro, after 10 years?
You know what? Like, it's something that I've been thinking about for like a year and a half or two. And I was like, all right, cool. I'm going to make this decision.
Yeah.
And the day of, it was really weird, man. The day of, it was like, it was on Tuesday, right? And we had this big rainstorm, right? I didn't check the
weather?
The weather, right? Yeah. So I didn't check none of that. So I end up walking from home, get close to like about 10-minute walks from the spot I was supposed to go. I just wanted to take a good walk. I wanted to walk, right? So I'm like, oh, it's an hour walk. Yeah. That'll be a nice walk. And I get there and it starts pouring rain, thunder and everything. And as I'm there, I'm kind of like hiding under this like tree and I'm getting wet. And I'm like, I should just go home. That makes no sense. Like I should just go back home and
reschedule or cancel the appointment.
Reschedule or whatever. And then I thought about the intentions that I wrote down and that I burned, and then that prayer that I did, and I was like, "Hey, this is actually just a testament of how bad do you really want that change?" Because it was like pouring rain, and I'm like, my phone is in my backpack, my headphones that are like worth $300 are in my backpack. If I walk in the rain,
you're losing your gear.
I'm losing my gear,
drenched.
Right? Yeah. Like, and I was like, all right, fuck it. Like, let me just go. End up going. As I start walking for the first like 30 seconds, the rain stops. It's just coincidence, you know. I'm not here to say like some esoteric, spiritual stuff. It's just like coincidence in life, and I think sometimes there's certain coincidence you have to pay attention and be like, you know, sometimes things align. You know, without trying to be spiritual or esoteric, I'm not necessarily about that. It's just that, you know, sometimes things align. So I get to the spot. Barbershop. It wasn't a barbershop, but it was like a hair salon. Yeah. Sit in the chair, anxiety's kicking in, and dude is like holding my locks and watching and just checking which one he's gonna cut first. And I want to jump out of the chair. I'm like, in my mind, my mind is like, what are you doing? You've grown this for 10 years. How are you gonna look without your locks? Your locks, it's
part of your identity by now.
It's part of your identity. Like, yo, with short hair, if you cut your hair, like, sometimes it make people look older when they cut their hair. Me, it did the reverse. I felt like it kind of made me look a bit like...
my son looking like he's 25.
You know what I mean?
My son looking like he's 25, 25.
You know what I mean? And other people, it does totally the contrary. I'm thinking about a bunch of insecurities, fears, and anxiety is kicking in, right? And he goes, and I see him with his scissors, and he's really taking his time. He's like, all right, cool. Okay, I'm going for this one. Heart is beating fast, super fast. And then... he cuts the first lock, and I go through an inner sense of euphoria.
Jeez.
And I start laughing, and I had my mask. You couldn't see it, but I had the biggest smile. I was like, yeah, I was supposed to do that.
Jeez.
And I even have pictures, on my phone, I have a picture. You see my hair is cut, and dude took a picture from the mirror, and I'm just smiling, bro, the biggest smile. And I'm like, yeah, I was supposed to do that.
Jeez, like it felt like a relief.
It felt like a strong relief. I was like, oh, something came off of my shoulder.
Jeez.
And not only that, is also to do something courageous, to be like, hey, let me do something that I'm really afraid of, and to do it, and then to realize like, hey, everything is okay, It's just hair.
It'll grow back eventually if you want it to.
If I want to, and if I don't, like I can go on the rest of my life with like short hair. It's just hair.
Boom.
And it just changed perspective. Like it just made me see things a bit differently. And ever since that day, which was only a few days ago, I just feel lighter, just way lighter,
Jeez. So we're introducing the official monster look. You know what I'm saying? You ain't never seen it before.
I mean,
this is a world premiere.
You might see it before that.
Nah, bro, world premiere, okay? We're co-signing it, okay?
By the time this comes out, but normally you guys seen it first.
Yes.
You guys seen it first.
Say it. That's it.
They've
That's what's
seen
up.
it first, but this is going to come out. By the time it comes out, everybody would have seen it.
Jeez. All right. Cool, yo. That's dope. Yo, that's, like, you told me that story, I think, like, yesterday, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like it was a pretty powerful story. That's why I wanted you to share it with us. So now, if we talk about dance a bit, you know what I'm saying? Because you're kind of a great dancer. Kind of.
I'm
kind of a great dancer.
I think I'm all right.
Know what I'm saying? He all right. He just won Summer Dance Forever, like, 3 times or 4 times. Like, I don't know.
You know what?
He's kind of great.
I'll take PM's. He did a little criticize me as he was saying that at Under Pressure. So yes, I will take that because I like to brush it off because I don't like to take compliments. I will take the compliment. But I will put a but. I will put it like something extra. I knew you were about to do that. Also, winning competitions doesn't equate automatically to greatness.
Indeed.
I think that it does show a work ethic. It does show skills. And it does show a certain level of greatness. But I think there's other things too that surrounds that. But yeah, like if you look like like a Green Tech or who else, like Kite 2 gets down, like, we watch people that win a lot of battles, like, yeah, they have a level of greatness, like they can hang. So for sure, this kind of certifies something into like the artistry of dance, contest, battle, whatever. But I think that is not the end all.
For sure. I was trying to be modest. And just name one thing. You want me to name your whole? I got your resume, bro. You want me to pull out the resume? I got the resume. You want me to talk about Cirque du Soleil? You want me to talk about? Want me to talk about? What you want me to talk about? Juste pour rire. Want me to talk about all the video clips? You want me to talk about the movies? You want me to talk about all the dance schools? You want me to talk about all of that? Philanthrope. You want me to talk about all of that?
All right, cool.
The impression you left on people. You want me to talk about all of that?
All right, cool.
All right, my guy. So you know.
Cool. You win.
You know. You see, even Tommy's in the back like, yeah, I co-sign. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. So, yeah, when we were talking, I like the way you broke down your path as a dancer. You broke it down into 3 eras, if I'm not mistaken.
You have to remind me of some of that.
I have to remind you all those 3 eras?
I mean, it's just because it's a long. We had this conversation a long time ago.
Yeah.
So I just want to know which.
All right, boom.
Which one first?
The first era is where you tell us about your background as a dancer and who were the major contributors or les catalystes.
Does my first era goes all the way to high school with Boom?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So yeah, okay, cool. Because sometimes I'm like first era can be before I interchange, but yeah, that first era is what it's. I mean, first off, my mother is a was a Haitian folkloric dancer. Folklore dancer. Folkloric would be more in French. And as a kid, I used to like go to those practices. My mother, she was done with her career when I was a kid, but she still did it in a recreative way, like, just recreation. I mean, just for fun. So she would do a few shows, community centers or whatever. And she used to go over a friend's place that had like a big basement, and they used to practice there.
Yeah.
And as a kid, which I kind of regret, I wish I kind of like, they wanted me to dance. They wanted me like to do it. And I was like, nah, because I was too shy. I was a really shy kid. So I was way too shy to interact in that kind of movement. But I was watching them, or even sometime just playing with the other kids. But I mean, I'm hearing drums. I'm watching them doing dance, So it's like those rhythms, and just seeing my reference in life, which is my mother, only my mother, have that reference dancing. I'm like, all right, cool. So it's normal to move your body, because it's not in every culture that you're like allowed to like express yourself physically.
True indeed.
So that's that. So there's an influence in that for sure. And then after that, I would say the influence comes from my older brother, also used to be known as Pec 7. He was chilling a lot with the guys of, well, they called themselves Illusion Breakers, but even before that, my brother was just, it's like before they were called Illusion Breakers, they were just friends hanging around, right?
Got it.
So this is a place called Centre Camer. So that's a spot. It was kind of like the bunch of like apartment buildings that were on Bellechasse, Rosemont, close to P9. So in there, you had like, we used to hang there all the time. My cousin was there. Not living too far, you had James Hyacinthe, which is the leader of Hilarious Riders right now, or also
same last name.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we think that we are related some way somehow, because there's not a lot of Hyacinthe in Haiti, but yeah, so there's that. This Skywalker that used to stay in that block too. Johnny Skywalker like was one of the leaders for Tactical Crew. You had Shello that was like, also super known, like in Red Mask, Illusion Breakers before. It was Illusion Breakers. So you had different people. So that was an influence, because as a kid, I'm going over my cousin's place every weekend. So we stayed a little bit further. But I would go, I mean, it's walking distance. It was like 20-something, 30-minute walk.
Yeah.
But I would go over to my cousin's place, and by doing that, I'm chilling with all the dudes on the block, right? So for sure, I would say that my older brother and all the people that surrounded my older brother and my cousin, Thierry Désir, all those people, they were definitely an influence to me, even before they were called Illusion Breakers. They were dancing, music, doing like parties and stuff, and we just... I remember me and my other cousin, Wandy, you know what I mean? We both were like looking up to them. Like, they were like, for us, we wanted to be like them. From there, that's part of that first era. Went to the States, went to live in Orlando, Florida.
I was all
the way in the South. And from there, being in Orlando, I kind of stopped dancing. I was more into like, this is where I really got deep into my anime, drawing, got into boxing also. So I got into that. And I met a dancer that was kind of hanging with like Skill Methods. This dude was called Nathan. He told me he was hanging with Skill Methods. I didn't really know who Skill Methods were at that time until I realized later. It's like, oh snap, Skill Methods, like it's a big crew. It's a well-respected breaking crew in the world. And but I wasn't dancing much. So when I came back to Montreal, a few years after, I ended up going to this high school called GFP, Joseph-François Perrault.
Yeah.
And this is where I met Boom Beast.
Shout out to Boom.
Now, how I met Boom Beast kind of sucked because...
Tell us about it. Why?
Well, this is how it went. Like, basically, by the time I'm in my high school, right, and I meet this kid called Frankie. And this kid called Frankie sees me dance, sees me moves a little bit, and he's like, "Yeah, man, that's nice, man. I'm sure you could take this guy." And he shows me, and I see this Asian guy, and that's Boom Beast, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's a bad experience. It was a good bad experience, more to say, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. But actually, Frankie was a friend of Boom Beast. So it was more of a setup.
That brother set you up.
It was a setup. You know, he wasn't my friend. It was a friend of Boom Beast. And Boom Beast didn't know about this, but he just like, you know, for fun, like, yeah, you should go and battle this guy. So I'm getting to know the guys. And then we go over this other dude's place. His name is VTech, so he's part of Area 51. He used to stay on P9 and Villeray. So we went there. And we get to his living room, and we start throwing down like it's just battling. It's like, all right, a call-out battle, whatever. Let's test the skills.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I told you I stopped dancing.
Yeah, when you were in Florida.
And also the dancing that I did before Florida wasn't all that great. Even though I had my own crew. I had a crew at that time called Marvelous Crew. It wasn't all that great or even that good, to be honest. So I'm rusty, and I wasn't that good back then. So I go against Boom Beast, but the thing with Boom Beast is that he was watching a bunch of tapes, like Wiggles tapes, and like he had a bunch of information. And in our battle, he literally bit a lot of stuff from certain videos, but still, it was looking nice, right? So we end up battling. I'm doing little moves, bro. Still today, there's only two person that like literally smoke me that bad. I'm talking about getting smoked, not getting beat, not like, oh man, this person danced better than me. Like getting smoked. Boom Beast
and J Style
and Peg 7.
I tried, yo. I tried. I didn't win
because my older brother used to do this. Like, I'm a kid. He's like, yo, I'll just beat you with my arms, and I'm trying to, yo, dude, I'll beat you with my hands in my pocket. Yo, you know what? I'll just beat you like hands in my pocket, my feet. I'm just gonna move my chest.
And he smoked you every time like that.
Because I wasn't that good. I wasn't the talented one. My older brother was the talented one. I was just I'm hard-headed, hard worker, consistent. But I wasn't naturally talented like my brother, you know? So that's how I met Boom Beast. And that was rough on my ego. That was really rough, and it really hurt. I remember that going back. I was walking like it was a walk of shame going back home. I felt bad. But again, there's something in me that's really competitive and that's hardworking. And I think that's one of my biggest skills. So I was so grateful for that specific situation because from that, I remember, I think it's VTech that had 2 camcorders. And he's like, yo, get this one or I'll lend you this one, which ended up being mine. I kind of give it to lend to like giving.
Yeah,
it was like I never gave it back. Like,
those ones. But
he didn't need it because I think he had another one. So, and from that moment, you know, I didn't have a computer. So Boom had like all the information on his computer. He had LimeWire, could download some stuff.
Gotcha. LimeWire
and stuff.
Wow.
Right.
Take him back. Take him back.
And I'm living in this tiny ass apartment with my mother and my brother. And I'm like, all right, cool. And I have this camcorder and I'm literally recording myself constantly, practicing. And I would say this a whole year, my thing was like, all right, cool. I have to beat Boom Beast at least once. And I think I called them out maybe like 3 or 4 times, and I got beat every time. And the last time I remember it was in the parking lot of the McDonald's at next to on Saint Michel.
Yeah.
In that parking lot we had a call out battle again. And in that whole year through his interaction I get inside of Area 51.
Got it.
So I'm in the crew. So we're crew now. But I'm still like, yo, dude, I'm not, this is the biggest L I ever taken. You know, like
you caught the L and you hold
dude,
the L.
I got smoked. You know, I got smoked, literally smoked. Like it was just not fair.
Gotcha.
I got murdered, right? I was like, only my older brother can do this. In my head, right? Like, sheesh. Just like, right? So from that moment, kept calling out, and then in that McDonald's call out in the parking lot, I ended up being able to beat Boom, but I think also maybe that day, maybe he wasn't as on or whatever, you know what I mean? Or maybe he was on, but it wasn't like, I didn't far from being smoked, just like beat, like slightly out edge him because I'm practicing constantly, filming myself, preparing bars, like, you know, back in the days, in that time, it was a lot about like bars and having like tricks. I'm trying to like practice
blow-ups and shit like that.
Blow-ups. I'm trying to think of ideas because I'm like, I have to beat this guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's that first era that really gave me that boost, like that. I was super competitive, you know. So there's this mother, older brother. I didn't talk much about this, but there was a low moment before Orlando where I had my crew. And in my crew, that I had Marvelous crew, there was a dude called Jad. And Jad was a neighbor of Boom Beast. But I didn't know Boom Beast at that time.
Okay.
And Jad used to, and then I remember talking to Boom Beast. He's like, yo, nah. He's talking to me about Jad. I'm like, Jad? He's like, Jad, did you go to Robertval? He's like, yeah, yo, this dude used to be in my crew. He's like, yo, this dude used to smoke me all the time.
So a dude that was in your crew was smoking the dude that you were trying to smoke.
So, exactly. And I remember when Jad got into my crew, Marvelous crew, I was like, because I created the crew with this dude called Rodolphe. And then we created that crew, Marvelous crew. My older brother, you know, he's in high school. I think I was in Sec 1. He was in Sec 5.
Got it.
And then my older brother is like, yo, why you so mad about your... Because I was mad. It's like, I had this like thing where I was like, yo, man, I'm the leader of this crew and Jad is way better than me. That makes no sense. And then my older brother is like, that's your crew. So you should utilize this so you could upgrade your skills.
You know what I'm saying?
But I wanted to be alpha, but that was ego. I was the young kid's ego.
Oh, man, that's crew on crew crime, bro.
You know what I mean? That was bad. No, that was stupid. That was stupid. That was stupid. But he was good. I remember he was good. So by the time I went to Orlando, for sure he kept practicing and he got way better.
Jeez.
You know?
Jeez. But yeah, you just spoke about you going to Orlando. What was the reason for your move?
Well, there's multiple reasons. One is that my mother went out for a year to Orlando to test the grounds.
Okay.
I don't know if she spoke to a friend. I don't know what it was, but I think she wanted to change in her life or something, and she wanted to live elsewhere, go somewhere else. So I was left a full year with my brother. And it's like my brother's like 18, I'm like 12, you know. And yeah, so normally the plan, my mom wanted to test the waters and then come back. And I think she wanted to test the waters maybe for 2 years and then eventually see if we're like...
If she could move with y'all.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
Then within that year, I ended up becoming, my mother fully trusted my brother, you know, and my brother was super responsible, but I ended up being like a hooligan, like really like I was hanging with the dudes in the corner.
Chef gang.
Yeah, Chef gang. Bro.
Chef gang.
Vagabond, bro. That was not good, dude. Like I was literally like, I remember I'm like 12 or 13. I'm in this basketball court on a Tuesday. I remember it was a Tuesday. And that means that I have school the next day. I have to go to school on a Tuesday. And I'm chilling to 2 a.m. on a basketball court, and I just drank like I think 3 bottles of Black Labels.
And you're in high school.
12 years old.
And
12.
I'm pissed drunk. I'm like laying on my back in that basketball court. Luckily, the older dudes, they're not older. They're like 16, 17, 18,
Gotcha.
19. Like, you know, they're not older. They're still like with distance, you're like, yeah, they're still kids.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, for sure.
But they were like my big homies. You know, sometimes people would just like leave the kid like that, but they actually stayed with me in the park. Like the chilling was done, but they stayed with me in the park till like 4. Dude, I was like tripping out and I was on my back and I was breathing hard. And it's like, yo, give him some water and they chill and they walk. But anyways, you know what I mean? They were taking care of me and showing love, but they were a bad influence. But they were showing so much love, you know? So I was doing that, doing a lot of dumb shit, man, doing a lot of dumb, idiotic stuff. And my mother was a strict woman, very strict, iron fist.
Like strong arm.
Like to the point that I would even say that she was extremely toxic, but she did what she had to do because she had to raise 2 boys, right?
Yeah. In the conditions that you were.
In the conditions
in the neighborhood that you were living in and all of that.
And I felt like it worked well for my older brother, but it didn't work well with me, the way that she raised us, you know? It didn't, because I had that sensitivity, whatever. But anyways, So yeah, throughout that year, my mother leaves, and she leaves a son that looks alright, and then she hears through the grapevines that like, yo, your son is you need to come back for your son. Like Dario is cool, but your son, like the youngest one, dude, you need to come back. She comes back. I'm 13. My hair is shaved in a weird way. 2 lines here. Like I'm looking wild. I'm looking wild. I'm looking like hella wild. I have clothes that like she like, he's 12. Like, I didn't buy him this. I didn't buy him that. I didn't buy him this.
Like, she left and she came back and it was a total new person.
It's like, what is all this wardrobe? I never bought, you know what I mean? Like, that's why I went to Orlando. You know, I mean, it's a better option because the Haitians sometimes they send you to Haiti.
Yo.
You know what I'm talking about, Sean, right?
Haitians. Man. Haitians,
I was like, oh, yeah,
Africans.
Yo, you want to act up? Cool, I'm going to send you to Haiti for 3 years.
Fam, yo, like that used to be a threat from my parents when I was a kid. Like, yo, if you keep acting up, we're going to send you to Africa. We're going to send you back to Congo. And I was like, damn.
Yeah.
And it doesn't always end the way that they want it to end, I'm saying.
Right.
Like, a lot of times people go down there and they end up acting up even more as, like,
wow,
than if they had stayed in Montreal. Because
they come with that clout. It's like, oh, snap, oh, you from Canada, nah. And they come with that clout, so they just go up the ranks really quick.
Yo, bro, it's not always the best option, like you just said, you know? So, I mean, in the end of the day, it was beneficial for you to go to Florida.
Yeah, it was. Became bilinguals because of that.
Okay. My bad.
Because I was in ESL. English
as a second language?
Yeah, ESL when I came through. I had some weird stories in ESL, you know. I called the dude like a certain name, but I thought it was a cool word. I don't want to say it because then it's like
okay. We ain't gonna put it on blast.
You know what I mean? But I just like called him a certain name in the ESL class, but I thought it was like just something cool and jokey to realize that it was like a very offensive word, and I didn't know. And I'm 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Almost got into a fight because of that. But it was just like a language barrier, dude.
That's what happens when you don't know what you're saying, bro. I mean, all right, I hear you. I hear you. And during that whole first era, what was the style that you were doing?
I mean, something that's trying to look like popping or boogie boying, you know what I mean? It's that street stuff, you know? It's the thing that everybody that starts dancing or street dancing or tries to start street dancing tries to do, you know, like trying to do a wave, you know? Like I remember, what did I bust? I did this move when I battled Boom Beast, which was like just this, and then push your head and come and then wave back and then start gliding. You know, like,
that's dope.
Yeah, but
Jeff used to show us that move. That one here. He used to go boop. Yo, trust. Okay. But boogie boying, like, we don't hear that term as often nowadays.
But that's why I'm saying, like, I wouldn't say even boogie boying, because I'm saying boogie boying because like that's what I understand that the guys here was trying to do. Okay. My older brother and his friends were trying to imitate what they saw the people in New York doing, or trying to imitate what they saw in breaking, which was like actual poppers. But the people here used to call this cassé.
Cassé?
Yeah, cassé.
Yes. I remember my sister, like, once I knew how to do the wave, my sister was like, yo, fuck to cast that wave. You got to break your wave. Shout out to my sister still, you know what I'm saying? She the first urban dancer in the family. Sheesh. All right. Okay.
C'était comme soit cassé. So, my bad, I'm going to French, but it was either cassé or in French, est-ce que tu break en haut? Tu break en bas ou tu break en haut? You remember that, right? People used to say that in the hood. So break en bas means to break down, or do you break up? Do you break downwards or upwards? I don't know how to translate this, but it's like, right.
Yeah,
so
if you would go down and do like a down rock and a 6-step and all that.
So comme tu break en bas, like if you break down, that means, okay, cool, you break on the floor, or to break en haut, you break up. That means, okay, I do the
waves and shit like that. Boop, boop.
Wait, whoa.
T-Pain. frame.
You know,
All right.
And that is like, even though that the terms are, even though the terms are not authentic to where it comes from, I still feel like it's important to not forget that, because it kind of shows also a culture, understanding that it is an imitation of what people are seeing.
Yeah.
And people are trying to like do exactly that. Like, oh, I'm trying to move like taco. I'm trying to move like shrimp. I'm trying to move like, I don't know, like this
Pete or even Michael or
whatever, you know. I'm trying to move like Quiggles. Like, they're trying to do things, or like mystery, like, or whatever. But I think just like putting certain names to things that were like different also give it a certain culture. Because I remember that dudes in Montreal, or like this dude called NC. I used to dance, and then there's the older brother of my homie Jeff that I forgot his name, or there was the dude called Flub Up. You remember Flub Up? Flub Up. This dude called Flub Up that was doing dancehall, and
they're showing their age right now.
you know what I mean? So I remember Flub Up. Yo, he used to do this walk, this weird walk, and his knee would go out and boom.
Ew.
So there was Flub Up and all those people, but there's one thing I realized they all had, and my brother had, is that they all knew how to like tick, like break things. So it's not like they had the sickest wave. They had waves. It's not like they had the sickest glides. They had glides, waves, different things. But everything was really like always like breaking, boom, 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 boom. And then it's like come, always breaking something. And I think the vernacular gives that, right? Saying like, oh, Cassie means to break. Okay, and even break is not the proper word. It's break. Cassie is to break something, but not in the term of like thinking about breaking as break dance. The word cassie.
Break. Yeah. Yeah. Totally hear you. All right, boom. So now, if we move to the second era, all right, when did you come to the realization that you wanted to pursue a career in dance?
That's then that means this era 1.5.
Rucka remix.
Because as a career, that's when I was 20.
Oh shit. Okay, so
but 16 to 20 or 19 is why I took it seriously. Because after Boom Beast smoked the shit out of me, I was like, never again. And I started practicing, and but that also put me in the crew Area 51. Yeah. And with Area 51, what happened is that we did a lot of battles. I sucked. I admit it. I wasn't all that good.
Humble beginnings, bro.
You know what I mean? Beginnings. And I was trying to break. I wasn't that good in breaking. And it was a breaking crew. And also it was an era where breaking was in the forefront. If you were a boogie boy, or to cast, or whatever, how you wanted to call it, it would be like the whole event is about breaking, and then you have a little break, 20-minute break, and they play something funky. Then everybody that knows how to dance on top is like rushing the ciphers to show their skills, or they might have like one exhibition battle, right? So this is where I took it seriously. This is where really, like, I was already in love with the dance, but I really fell in love with it. Because for me, it was like, oh, my older brother does it. He's better than me, whatever. But then I started to have my own legacy, like my own story. People that are different, discovering the scene. I'm 16, 17, discovering the Montreal scene and seeing different people. Montreal scene outside of my neighborhood and outside of the people that I know, even though that some of them, like a Skywalker or a Shello, are people that were important in the breaking scene. But I was still just in that neighborhood. I was a kid. So that part, I would say, is the 1.5, like battling, calling out. Like me and Boom Beast, if he just did one wave, like, oh, you know how to wave? Okay, cool. Let's And most of the time, Boom Beast in that era, I felt was better than me because he was able to handle folks and still beat them, get himself in tight spots and figure out something. And me, it was like one win, one loss, one win, one loss.
Got you.
And I kept working at it, but that's what we're doing, you know? And yeah.
Okay, got it. So that's when you started taking it seriously. Okay, so that's 1.5.
Let's call it 1.5.
1.5, boom. 1.5. Now move us to second era then.
Second era is I'm 20 and I'm still at Area 51. in that summer, June of that summer, there's Jack Fresno thing.
What was Jack Fresno?
Jack Fresno thing was Jack Fresno was a company of Fun Bueno Powell and Dazzle.
Mm-hmm. Two pioneers of the Montreal street dance.
So we went to this event, dance. The dancing that I did was like, whatever. But that was cool. So I started to have like some kind of shift in the scene where in 2005, other styles started to separate themselves from the breaking scene and trying to create their own thing. So that was kind of like a weird all-style, you got served-ish kind of event. You know? Right? I mean, it wasn't weird. It was like important. I'm not trying to downgrade the event.
Gotcha.
It was like an important event, but it was just like a mix of a bunch of things.
Yep.
I remember that summer too, took some workshops and everything, but the part that really switched it for me is that throughout that year, I get into November. Mm-hmm. November of that year is the first Buster Move.
Sheesh.
So Buster Move is at Kolanute.
Shout out Alexandra Spicy, you know what I'm saying? Woo.
And Kolanute is what you call Théâtre Fairmount.
Yeah.
So it's the first Buster Move. I come through, and I have to do an exhibition battle. Twin Towers, so that was me, Sam versus Lincoln and Leah.
Ooh.
But
it's marvelous. What?
Yeah. And they were ahead of the game. Like I'll give him that.
Yo.
They were and it's like Leah is really dope, but also Link. The thing is that people don't see him a lot, but this dude was. I'm watching back the footage and I'm like, oh snap!
I gotta give him his flowers because I remember them coming through the Little Burgundy and performing, and me watching them being like, I want to move like this. Whatever it is that they're doing, I want to move like this. Like they had the W, boom, funky poses, and then go into some hip hop shit. I was like, yo, I want to do that. I don't speak English, but I want to do that. Bruv. So for real, shout out to Too Marvelous, yo. For real. Big up.
Seriously, and they were in the community doing a bunch of stuff, you know what I mean? So I'm coming through from the breaking scene, and so I get to bust a move, and then it's that call-out battle that I have with Boogeyman Links. And we going at it. He's super funky dancing.
Yo.
I'm coming through with this kind of like casse, boogie boy mentality, getting down and throwing bars. And I had such a high. I was so high on myself. I was like, after this, I couldn't sleep. The whole week, I was like, I had such a high. I was like, I have to do this.
Jeez.
This is it. I'm deciding to do this as a career or continue to pursue that. You know what I mean? Solidly.
And how was that? Because I feel like there's such a difference between like, you know, the high that you're talking about, and then once you go home and then you're back to your reality and you're like, it's as if that high leaves you at that door. You know, as soon as you open your door, that high is gone, bro.
I mean, and I think that's the other thing too that made me push a lot. It's because that I was living in precarious ways, like very in ways that wasn't like too cool, like whether financially, living quarters, and even if that is not good, it's like even interaction with family was really, really, really bad. So I was just in a bad place, very bad place in my life. And that high that you're talking about, it's like I became also addicted to that, you know, which was a good thing, but also a bad thing too.
In what ways?
I mean, because it doesn't make you deal with your reality.
I true that.
You know what I mean? I'm just so, but I use it as a crutch. Like that's why I was so obsessive into training, into doing battles, into putting myself out there in Montreal. Like now, I'm just in Montreal.
That little bubble.
Quebec, maybe going to Toronto. But like I was pushing so hard because everything else in my life was bullshit. Like it was really bad.
Yeah.
And I was addicted to that high, you know? Yeah.
Jeez. That's crazy, bro. We talking about high and we're not even talking about drugs. We're just talking about like being on stage and the love that you receive and the energy that's there, you know? That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy. And in that second era, who were the dancers who played a major role in in that second era?
Second era. Well, already in that 1.5 era, I would have to give a shout out to almost everybody in the street dance scene, more specifically the breaking scene in Montreal, you know, like almost everybody, you know, like we had rivalry with Floor Rock and Legs Crew, sorry. We had rivalry with the both, and it was nasty at that time, but it really helped us. It really helped us. It pushed us. Tactical, Venom, I mean, everybody, you know. Speedy, like everybody. So that 1.5 would be that. In, let's say, the second era, what did a switch is that, so me and Boom Beast were kind of known for those boogie boys of the city. And we're calling out a lot of people or whatever. Boom Beast at a certain point had a battle against Fawn, 2003, I remember. Battles Fawn or whatever. And the reason why is because there was tension. You know, Fawn was like, yo, you guys are not doing the real thing. We're young and wild. We're like, yo, don't come with that disrespect. You know, it was just the energy was bad.
Energy was
off.
Not proper,
And then 2005, we get humble. We humble ourselves like, hey, you know, we do this dance stuff. Everybody, like a lot of people love what we're doing. And I remember even some people were like, yo, why you go and train with Fawn? You know, actually Fawn is one of the dudes, one of the people. So why would you go and train with Fawn? You guys are already good. And we're like, nah, this dude has more information that like there's things that we don't know. We can't put words to certain moves. We're just creative, but we don't really know what we're doing. So that was, I would say, the first person. Yeah, we're like, okay, Fawn, you have the information, you know stuff. And then this is where we started to like educate ourselves with popping more specifically. There's that. By that, Fawn, I remember, brought Frank Boogie to teach some
Toronto.
to teach some workshops. So my first workshop was Frank Boogie, my first class and like first workshop in my life. I'm like, all right, cool, let me take this class. And then there's that. And also, through Fawn, also we met Hitmaster Fish. So he came to Montreal and stayed 1 year. And each person played a different part. Like a lot of like, let's say like some, either like, I remember some EB information or just like knowing name of certain OGs and knowing. Fawn did a lot of that in my early stage. Like, oh, check this person or check that person, you know. And I would test him sometime. But like, yo, I remember I was like, yo, what do you think about Mr. Animation? Oh yeah, that's cool, man. Because at that time, anything that wasn't EB, people were dissing that.
In
the popping world.
There was not much recognition for
so I was like,
way of movement.
Yeah, so he's like, okay, he finds that cool. Yo, what do you think about Flat Top? Yo, man, that's funky. Like, okay, cool. And actually, that's the reason why I went under him, you know? Like, I went, like, I calling me.
Woo! Yo! Keep going.
This guy, man, I can't with him. You go under. This guy, man.
Keep going. My fault.
No, say your pause. Go
Nah,
ahead.
bro.
Say
I
it.
just say yo.
Say pause.
I
Go
just
ahead.
say
No,
yo.
I'm not.
I just say yo.
You want to say
nah,
pause?
Bro, you were on
say
the roll.
pause.
You on the roll. Go for it.
This fucking guy.
You on the roll. You on the roll.
Yes, you go under people. It's like, oh yeah, this is the big homie.
I understand.
I
understand. I actually overstand it as well because I've lived.
It's all good. So I went under Fawn. And then that's the reason why, because like he was like super like open to those different movers, and then I was like, all right, cool, I can trust this person because I have interest in different movement. And there's that, and then Hitmaster Fish stayed for a year, and I think Hitmaster Fish, he's shown us like some funk dances, a couple of movement, but Hitmaster Fish, it wasn't so much about movement. I would say the majority of the way that he affected my route in my dance is more the mentality, more the mindset. He knew that I loved other stuff than the EB approach
type of movement,
which I still loved it, but you know, we were in a box where you had to wear the hush puppies and you had to move a certain way. And then Fish was like, "Yo, do your shit." Like that, like all the vulgar words, like you'll be like,
raw and unfiltered.
Raw. It's like, yo, I remember once I was doing the slinky on the floor. Like that's wiggle shit, man. Do your shit. Do you? I'm like, all right, cool.
So pushing you to find your voice at the same time.
He was standing strong, like, hey, you could do you and don't care what they say.
Jeez.
Like, don't mind them telling you have to move a certain way. Do what you like. So it kind of gives you strength because we didn't really have an OG in Montreal. Fawn wasn't that old. Like, you know, there was like a 4-year difference.
Pet, who's behind the camera, asked, like, if that type of mentality that Hitmaster Fish instilled in them, did he apply that in his day-to-day life? I'm saying, outside of dance.
I think I did. I think I could do it more, but I think I did. For sure. But also it's something that was always part of my character, but I felt the pressure of I'm coming into this scene that I'm looking up to, and I'm like, okay, I have to conform myself to something. And that was against my nature, but I was like, all right, cool, I have no other choice. You do what you have to do if you want to do something. So I'm like, let me get the hush puppies and let me get the this and
a little suit
and I have no other choice, you know? And it's not that I don't find this nice. It's just that at that time I was the dude with like I don't know, like 25 jerseys, bunch of
you know, talk your shit. Let's go.
Bunch of caps, like sneakers that match every outfit. Like I was dressing like Joel Santana, like dipset. You know, I was like on that style, like New York hip hop style at that time. So for me, it was like, and I remember I wanted to dance in that, and it's like, oh yeah, that's not funky. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me dress like a 50-year-old man. You know?
What they called funky at that time.
And that's not to like diss or disrespect anything, because I strongly respect the system, the EB system. It's a nice system. It moves, it has a lot of mobility. It's a great system. But yeah, so Fish kind of like, because he is an OG. So being the OG that he is, like, and the OG's telling you like, yo, I'm an OG. All right, cool. And you're young. You're impressed by everybody. You know, I'm like 20, 21, 22. I'm like, okay, cool.
You're going to take it as a word.
You know, I'm an OG and you could do what you want and do this and do. Okay, cool. It's like, because that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to move like that. Okay, cool. So let me go for what I like. Okay, let me try and touch some of the bopping. Let me try and touch some of this. And I will always be grateful for that, because I think if he wasn't there, then I definitely would have not been the dancer that I am right now.
Jeez.
Because at that moment, I was easily influential. Whatever.
Naive.
Influence. Thank
Naive.
you. That was a weird word.
Naive.
Thank you. Naive. I was easily influenced and naive. So I just knew I wanted to be part of that thing. I was like, all right, so if I have to dress a certain way and forget what I love and dance in a different way, then I'll do it.
So from what I get from what you're saying, it's as if that was one of like the major advice that you've gotten from an OG.
Yeah. And definitely at a time where it wasn't popular to think like that. Because now it's easy to think like that. But in a time when it wasn't popular at all, that if you were to like give the name of other OGs, like, yeah, but that's not funky. Oh yeah, but like, man, people were rough and harsh and easily dissing anything that wasn't that. Oh, you're moving like this? That's not funky. Oh, that's just tricks. So that's just this. And people trying to like, folks trying to act as if that didn't happen. But I'm old enough to remember that era.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know, I'm quite old enough to super well remember that era where you had no other choice to move a certain way, dress a certain way. And if you did anything outside of that, you were dissed, or you were considered like trickster, or you were considered like, that's not funky. It's like, oh yeah, but those people are better than you, or that's not the real thing, or no, that's not real popping.
You were put to the side.
Yeah.
Jeez. And what about Venom?
Yes. So, sorry.
Go ahead. Take your time. You know, get the sweat off.
Yeah. So in that second era, I would say Venom and GF2 played a huge part. And the part that they played a huge part too. Like, see, and I have to name my peers. Like, that's people, my peers, right? So I'm named older folks. But in that specific era, For 2 or 3 years, for 2 years, 3 years, something around that. We used to go at GF's place, and he had tapes and DVDs, and we would watch some tape and DVDs, and we would practice. We practiced a lot. Like, we practiced together a lot. We build a lot. So that moment really expanded my artistry.
Yeah.
But also, specifically, Venom was moving differently. So he was doing like, you could see there was inspiration from Sweepy, Jazzy J.
Yeah.
Wiggles
a lot of
too.
leg work.
Yeah, Wiggles too. But it's not only on the leg work, because you see the angles that he would take. Like, I remember I posted one of the footage on Instagram. You see the angles. It's like you sense that like Jazzy J / Sweepy, like, you know, moving to the, my bad, I'm going out of the mic. Moving to the side and moving like a puppet and whatever. And that created rivalry, like a strong rivalry where I had to up my game. A bit like Boom Beast, but it was different. That was like, he's great with that. So because of that, then I have to push my hitting, mechanical, waving, touch stuff. You know what I mean? And vice versa for him. And at that time, I think we had a bit of pride where it's like, oh, I can do ground moves, not as well as him, or I can do floor work, not as well as him, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to push other stuff, and vice versa. So we were trying to push what we were good at, even though we knew we could do each other's stuff to a certain extent.
Got it. But yo, I feel like there's because you've been talking about crews, right?
Yeah.
You spoke about Area 51.
Yeah.
And other crews and things like that.
Yeah.
First of all, I want you to just elaborate on the concept of crews for people who are watching and like they're hearing the word crew and they have no idea what you're talking about.
So a crew is a collective, which is something that is quite common in street dance or hip hop practice, like hip hop culture, or even in different other cultures. But it's a collective of people that are together, and they have that kind of that loyalty, and they represent each other when they're out there, either doing a battle, doing a contest, but even out of that, it's a support system. It's people that support each other, that help each other elevate artistically, first and foremost. That's often the reason why our crew's created. And sometimes they create a certain style, a certain approach, a certain identity in their culture. And then also it goes bigger than that. It becomes friendship and so forth and so on.
That being said, shout out to Symbiotic Monsters.
You know.
All right. But yo, there's a crew you didn't talk about.
Which one?
The Montreal Shakers. What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that? What's up with that?
Did I talk about this last time?
Yep. Yo, so who were the Montreal Shakers?
So when I came back to Montreal from Orlando, I really got solidly into Harlem Shake.
Ooh.
And I remember at that time I created I was always that dude trying to create crews.
Damn.
I created Marvelous Crew. And then I was like, okay, cool. I didn't reconnect with the guys when I came back. Everybody, like, you know. And then I was in GFP and I was doing a lot of Harlem Shake. I was in Area 51. But then I had my homie, J1, Jean Agenor, J1. He was also doing Harlem. He knew how to dance, you know, but he wasn't like boogie boy dancer. He just knew how to get down.
Yeah.
You know? I couldn't even put a style in particular. But after that, we started getting into Harlem Shake. And then in the parties, you know, the boogie, like we used to say, there was a lot of call-outs in those parties. And actually people were Harlem shaking too.
Jeez.
Well, getting inspired for what was happening from New York.
Yeah.
And they were like, yo, we're going to call ourselves the Montreal Shakers. Like, it was, I mean, like, who are we to call ourselves the Montreal Shakers,
Man,
right?
we were the Montreal Shakers, bro.
But that's what we called ourselves. That thing lasted, I think, a year and a half, something like that.
Jeez.
So
you were battling people, Harlem shaking like crazy.
Bro. And then it's like, back then I had the alias Timus or Optimus as a street dancer. But when it came to oh boy, shit.
Vas-y.
Yeah, it's just Yo, but it's just memories, man. I'm 16, right? I'm 16. Fuck. So when it came to Harlem Shake, my homie's name was Brick because he liked to break down stuff. Like he was Harlem Shaking, but like boom.
Dang.
And me, I was just walling out, so I decided to call myself Milkshake. And I was like,
right?
because I was just like super flowy. I'm like, yeah, I'm flowy like I'm. You know, you're young.
Oh my! Oh,
You know, you're.
What flavor?
But I never would use that name. It's just like I remember doing a tag. I was like, yo, I'm gonna create a logo. I'm always creative, right? I'm gonna create a logo. Okay, then I did your drawing with Brick, and I'm gonna do my drawing. But I never. People still call me Timeless. I never used the name Milkshake. But that was the thing we wanted to come forward with. I was like, thank God I never used that.
Yo. You don't want to be walking in the street and people be like, yo, you lost a milkshake.
Yo, thank God I didn't use this, man.
Man.
Thank God.
Yo, I bet after people watch this, some people are going to try to call you milkshake.
They can't. I'm not even gonna turn back. I'm like, I had different names. I remember when I had my crew Marvelous before I went to Orlando. So my brother is like, yeah, nah, and he's talking about crews, and I think he's having a conversation with his friend. They're just talking about like some of the guys that are a bit older than them, and whatever. And they talking. I hear Chief of Technique, you know, and I was like, the Chief of Technique is a natural crew. I think they were from Montreal Nord or RDP.
Got it.
It's like, oh, that's cool, Chief of Technique. I literally bit that name. I'm like 12, and for a year, I'm like, yo, COT. That
stood for Chief of Technique.
Yeah. Like, you can't call yourself Chief of Technique. Okay, mon nom c'est COT. And then I remember I had a rhyme like mon nom c'est COT, whatever. And I would spit. I wrote a rhyme in French.
Wow.
I remember I was a Robert Vaz like, yo, COT. And my brother was like, all right, cool. I'm going to do a tag for you. See,
Wow.
So my brother knew how to tag and draw. But he's like, you can't call yourself that. There's already a crew called Chief. But it's COT. They don't know.
You try to camouflage the name. But yo, I could kind of relate to you with this whole like name that you don't, like the milkshake thing. I used to be called Picsou. Ooh, Picsou. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Picsou. And that came from my OGs watching my behavior and my demeanor and being like, yo, you a cheap motherfucker, bro. You don't like to share. Yeah. And so my mentors called me Picsou. And that was my name, bro. I would be in the street, yo, Picsou. Yeah. Yo, bro, I would, like, the first battles I entered, I would go under Picsou. And actually, the first battle I entered, you were judging with DKC. Oh, sure. And I forgot the other dude's name, who was in DKC's crew as well. Light-skinned dude. Something speed, kick shows, not sure. Anyway.
Okay.
And yeah, and I battled a Junior Boogie, bro.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, and I had 2 ties, and you motherfucker gave it to Junior Boogie, man. That's why I'm mad, bro. I'm mad. He made me lose. He made me, but I
of course.
They're ties, bro. Yeah, bro. First battle, man.
Junior Boogie give you those hands,
Yeah. No. I caught the L, and I held it. But yeah, bro. So Picsou.
Yeah, but I went through different names, man. It's like the milkshake thing. I was like, oh, that's cool. Harlem Shake. Or player words, milkshake. I was but I never used that. But it was just I had the drawing, like I did a logo and I drew something.
Jeez, okay.
Also, COT, that was Chief of Technique. I tried that, and quickly like this, the Timeless Optimist thing came about because somebody. When was that? I just remember like a friend telling me like, oh, you remind me of. I was always associated to like those characters in cartoons, you know. So as a kid, I was associated. My PE teacher would call me Baloo, like the bear in the Jungle Book, right? Yeah. But further down the line, I had one of my friends that was like, "Yo, the way like your leadership, your character, and the way you look, you remind me of Optimus Prime in Beast Wars." So not in Transformers, but in Beast Wars, it's like a gorilla that turns into like a robot. So he's like, oh, and then from there,
Optimus Primal.
Or Prime, but it still was Primal. Was it called Primal?
Yeah, Optimus Primal.
Yeah, exactly.
Sheesh.
So from there, I could have shot for Timus, or sometime I would use Optimus. And still today, I got people from Saint Michel is like, yo, Optimus, still.
Thank you. I still got people who be calling me Picsou, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Still, thank you.
I went through a lot of names, bro.
It's out here, bro. Sheesh. All right. Now walk us through that third era of yours.
Shit.
Yeah.
What's the third era? Does it stop at third era? Is there a fourth one?
It kind of stopped at the third era. The third era is the travels, the battles. Know what I'm saying?
But I think there's 3 and there's 3.5.
Just 3 and 3.5. So there was 1, 1.5, 2, 3, 3.5.
Yeah. 3 for me would be so there's this whole era, let's say 05 all the way to 2010, where it's like a lot about getting the proper information, training a lot, traveling. Like I remember going to Japan. I had a grant to go at Tetsuji Studio, which is Studio Alley-Oop. So I remember taking classes with Tetsuji, with Aki, with Kusun. Remember even taking Gushon's class and K's class.
Jeez, at a young age, right?
Yeah, I was like 24. No, I'm 23. Wow. 23.
Oh, wow.
I applied for a grant. I think I was like either one of the like rare people that had a grant for street dance at that time. The first one was actually Crazy Smooth.
Oh,
but I think I was like few people ahead, like that list, whatever. But so that era is more like I was traveling because I wanted to get as much information as I could.
Got it.
It wasn't about battling. It wasn't about doing the contest, even though I was trying to do it. Even though I was trying to rep and try my best to, like, you know, like everybody else, you want to be the best in the world, you know, like you're young, your ego, you know.
Yep.
That competitiveness, you know. But it was more about getting as much information as I could, you know. And then I would give some props to Tech for that, to Green Tech. Yeah, to Green Tech. I'll give him some props. I have to give him props because my traveling was about getting as much information as I could and battling here and there. But it's just like, oh, you know, for years I've watched this person in the footage, so I want to make sure I see that person live and understand something. So I just wanted to connect with people I saw on VHS tapes or in the videos and understand something. So that's what I came about. That's what I came from. And Tech, I think he fell straight to like an era where people were like, there's contest, there's battles, just the boo, there's this and that. So him is like, I think from the get, it was like, yo, I want to go out there and smash, which he did. He went, and then he, like 2009, I remember he went to LA and he won this contest, right? And I was like, yeah, man, like I can do that too. I can go out there too. And that kind of inspired me a bit. I'd be like, yeah, cool. I mean, if he can do it, he was the little homie before, he came under me and like I gave him his name and everything. So it's like, that was the little homie. I was like, if he can go out there and do it,
there's no reason why you couldn't.
There's no reason I can do that, you know? And it made me also realize like, oh, maybe, yes, you're out there, you want to learn, but maybe too, there's too much humility. Because I had that very like, it's weird, man.
Modest way of carrying yourself.
I was a contradicting character. Because my energy when it came to like I'm in a contest in the city out there, I'm battling super hard. Like just battling, going at it, like, but when it came to outside the battle, like as soon as the contest is done or the battle is done, my energy would change. My energy was about like being humble, like trying to learn, trying to, you know. So yeah, I think that that kind of challenged me. So that would call this era like 3.5.
Got it.
You know, the era of like being out there more to learn, battling.
I mean, era 3 because we didn't get into 3.5 yet.
That's why I said era 3. That's what I meant. You know what I mean? So more like out there to learn, battling, represented for the city, but really in the back of my mind, I just want to meet certain OGs and maybe take a class or have a conversation or just watch them dance in a cypher trying to understand something. So that was more that, the 3.5. Then 3, that's what I said. And then I would say like 2010 to 2015.
Yeah.
It's the symbiotic monsters as a duo era. You know.
My bad. Shit trop chaud.
No, but it's still a crew though. Even though that job got put in the crew in 2013.
Jeez.
2013. And me and Venom had a bad name as a crew. I'm not gonna say that one. That was a bad name. Came up with a name and I was like, after I was like, yeah, we shouldn't use that name.
All right. I ain't gonna make you divulge.
You know what I
the
mean?
name.
I already
ain't
said
gonna do that.
milkshake, so that's all good. I'm
Yo,
not gonna
fam.
add some more.
I ain't even
I'm
know
not-
about milkshake, bro. I didn't even know about that,
Don't
bro.
worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it. Yo, I have so much stories, man. Many stories, but anyways, so yeah. So me and Venom, we had this rivalry from like 2005 to 2010, let's say. And then I remember Zig and I remember even Seven used to say, like, you guys should like, link
Join
together.
forces.
Yeah. And we used to practice together, but it was still, there was rivalry. You know? It's like we practiced, but it's like, then we joined forces. And then eventually I was like, yo, dude, Venom, the symbiote, I'm Monster, symbiote. It was as simple as that.
Jeez.
Symbiotic monsters. So we thought, I was like, oh, is it because like you guys like understand your energy in your 2 months? It's like, nah, his name is Venom, symbiotic. I'm MonstaPop, symbiotic monsters. Simple as that.
Boom, you get it right here on Nterludes Radio.
It was very simple. But then the name started to catch on. And then, yes, it did represent that idea of like monsters that has that symbiotic, that has this like connection and, you know what I mean? And move together, like, so that era, say 2010, 2015 is like the era of us as a team wanting to represent for Canada and more specifically for Montreal.
Got it.
And we were very adamant about not even trying to represent with other people as much as we could. Like sometimes, like, I did the Inglourious Bastard thing with Bruce and Jidawi.
Yes.
But our main thing, me and Venom, is like, yo, we're repping from Montreal.
Got it.
And it's us and we're coming through raw with this raw energy, with this thing that's so Montreal. We come with that. And that era was all about that. It was mainly that. It's just like that's all we wanted to do. Like go out there, battle, represent, trying to do juste debout, trying to do this, trying to do that. And then 2015, so like let's say era 4 or 3.75. Right? So then 2015 came about. I mean, within that, like this artistry, I'm learning. I mean, I remember I did 2 weeks at Tart's place. I had a grant to like learn
the Strutter's room, right?
Yeah, to the Strutter's room to learn strutting. There was still the learning part aspect, but 2010, 2015 is really like us two trying to push. Then in 2015, I kind of took a break off of that, and I wanted to be more creative. So I was like building a show. I wanted to go back to my creative ways. Myocarditis,
right?
Exactly.
Boom, name of the show.
And I wanted to get back to that, back to old ways too, because I used to do a lot of shows with Area 51. I did also a lot of shows with Stairways, with Boom Beast from 2008 to 2010. So I wanted to get back to that. So I started to do that. And I was trying to retract myself from dance, but also I think I started to have some kind of resentment.
Towards what?
The resentment that I had was, I think it's like, like early in your street dance, let's say, path. I mean, every kid or young adult has this dream of like, oh, I want to be that dude out there winning battles, right? Yep. And for a while, I remember I was training for that. And it was not coming to realization. Like, it was not happening. I felt like it was always close, but no cigar. And I know me and Venom, we often felt like we were kind of like black sheep. So that's how we felt, and on top of that, we have to be leaders of our scene. So we're like in the forefront. We don't have any OG per se to like, stand next to us. So
it's
we
a lot of weight on your shoulders.
Yeah. So we kind of felt like black sheeps. And I got to this place where I had resentment. I think also that's why I went more for the creative stuff. And then I was like, I'm done. Whatever. Getting fat. Just like, you know what I mean? Building shows, doing choreo stuff, a lot of choreography stuff.
Yes.
And then you came about 2017. So G-Style, what happens with this dude is that...
We're going to talk about that later,
Oh,
bro.
okay, my bad.
We're going to talk about that later. Let's not go in details into that right now. You know what I'm saying?